Millions and millions of Americans are ready and willing to quit their jobs. And what is interesting is that even employment recruiters are seeing that now they are busier than ever before. Today I'm going to break down what's going on. We're going to talk about a new report that just came out and how certain generations are more willing to quit over others. But I also want to read a couple comments that you guys have left, kind of explaining why you're ready to quit or you have already quit. So I'll break all this down in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. Here's what I find is very interesting. Millions of people are ready to quit their job at a moment's notice, and they have been for years. Simple things like, oh, you were supposed to come in an hour early because somebody decided they called out sick. Well, guess what? If you're on the schedule for a certain time, that's the time you're supposed to show up. So when your employer says, hey, I wanted you here an hour early, well, too bad. And you've probably seen a lot of these stories on TikTok and on Instagram, even on Facebook and YouTube, where employers are demanding more from you because guess what? They pay you. Well, look at this. It says millennials and Gen Z most willing to quit jobs over politics. Now I want to read a little bit of this to you, okay? Because again, I think this is extremely important what we are seeing from this survey. It says a new survey from Kick Resume shows that age played a significant factor in whether people were willing to leave their jobs. One thing I can tell you is that when you get a little bit older and you have things like a car payment, you have a mortgage, you are relying on the health insurance or maybe the benefits for retirement, and then you got a family to feed, well, that plays a major factor because you are less likely to quit if you have all these other responsibilities that rely on you and your income. But look at this. It says while 86% said they weren't willing to change jobs because of political differences, the 14% who said they would leave mostly consisted of members of younger generations. Roughly 78% of employees who would quit were between the ages of 18 and 43. Okay, now here's the reason why I'm bringing this to your attention today. We are about to see a massive shift. Airlines are now starting to cancel certain flights. They're starting to reduce their staff, change certain benefits. This is all going away. We know large IT companies, they are pretty much relieving employees of their duties as we speak. We know some companies like FedEx and UPS, they are trying to minimize their risk as well, reduce their workforce, and the list goes on and on and on. I want to read this to you, okay? Because reports indicate that roughly 70% of Americans are ready to quit their job at a moment's notice. And it's because of what they're being asked by their employer. Listen to this, okay? I want to give you a couple examples. People that were either ready to quit or decided to quit. Listen to this first one. This person says, and I quote, I finally quit my dream job after having it for only 6 years. Fresh out of college, I wanted to be a coder for a large IT company, and I got it. But it was not quite what I was expecting. During the pandemic, I was able to work from home, and that was great. But then we were told we had to go back to the office for 3 out of the 5 days, which was still fine. But then we were told that we must spend the other 2 days of remote work time in another office. The closest one is roughly 2.5 hours away. Again, I did it, but I didn't like it. And just this past week, my boss informed us that we would no longer be receiving any benefits. So, they are not going to receive any benefits. My guess is, and they don't go into detail, but my guess is probably health insurance might be on there. Retirement or contribution could be on there. Maybe this person has a company car. I don't know. Maybe there's daycare services, maybe a phone plan. Again, all these things gone. They're no longer going to be receiving any benefits. This is why people quit. It's not just about, and the American people have gotten much smarter, because years ago, and I'm talking, 10, 20 years ago, people would, and employees or employers would go and give out all these benefits. They wouldn't necessarily be great, but they'd give you all these benefits and they'd say, oh, this is worth this and this and this, and here's a gym membership and you get all these, a phone plan, whatever, right? And you're looking at this like, oh, this is incredible. I'm getting a great deal here. And then they'd give you a salary or a certain wage. Okay. Well, now the American people have gotten much smarter. And when your employer tells you, sorry, we can't give you a raise, but here's what we're going to do. We are not going to take away the contributions to your retirement plan. Well, how does that help you today? Does it? Does it help you when you retire? Yeah, but not today. And now the American people are asking, well, how are you going to help me today? I need help today, right? Finances are tough, right? We're getting very close to not being able to make a rent payment or a mortgage payment or a car payment. We need help today. So by you not taking away the contributions for retirement, it does us no good today. We need help now. Now, here's the other comment that I want to read to you. Listen to this one. This person says, and I quote, I can't wait to get away from this job. My hours are long and my pay is awful. The benefits keep getting reduced and the management is almost unbearable at the moment. Nobody is happy around here and morale is at an all-time low. Honestly, I see why nobody has any loyalty to their employers anymore. That's the thing. Your employer doesn't have any loyalty to you. And I've talked about different stories. I've read comments here on the channel where people have been let go after 20 or 30 years. There's no loyalty there. That you put in a lifetime of work. The company doesn't care. The company cares about profits. It's profits over people. That's different from what we've seen in the past, where it's people over profits. Now, it's completely different. But here's what you need to know. Millions of Americans are ready to quit. And when they decide to quit, this is going to throw a wrench in our recovery. The U.S. economy is struggling, and no matter what you hear on social media and online and on actually CNN and Fox News, the economy is struggling. Businesses are hurting. The U.S. consumer doesn't have a lot of excess money to spend. The U.S. government isn't going to come out and do what China did and give us stimulus. Can't afford that. They don't want to see runaway inflation again. Right now, we just saw the Federal Reserve decide to cut rates by 50 basis points. Experts believe that is going to cause additional inflation. Well, we're going to see what happens because we have a lot of issues going on around the country. Boeing employees here in the Pacific Northwest decide to strike. That's 33,000 people not working. We know on October 1st, if the U.S. government does not pass another government funding bill, we could see millions of federal employees be furloughed. They would not be paid until that bill is signed. We also know at the same time there's a potential port strike on October 1st. This is going to cause a lot of issues. And according to reports, there'll be anywhere between $3.7 billion to $5 billion of losses per day if this strike happens. At the same time, on October 1st, this will be the first day in the first month where people that have student loans will be required to make a payment. If they don't make a payment, then that would be reported to the credit bureaus, which we could see higher interest rates, and eventually they could be, you could came after, and you could get your wages garnished. You could see, just money taken right out of your bank account because it is owed to the federal government. So again, there's some tough times ahead, but this is why millions of people have no loyalty to their employers. They don't want to work for them because of what we are currently seeing. So we'll see what happens moving forward, but as of today, that is what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.